All right, looks like we might be live. I'm gonna double check, make sure everything's working. Let me see here. So here says it's live. Okay, yep. Looks like we're live. I just double checked my phone, so good to go there. All right, so that's good. We make sure volume's working, video's working, and then I did send a link to us, 2, 3 people to jump on. So we got to make sure their chat. All right, let's see here. Yo, what's up, John? How you doing, man?
What's going on, yo? How you guys doing?
Pretty good. All right, so the link is working, so good to go there. All right, so I also sent it to Anthony, my brother, and then Bustamante. They also might jump in as well.
Who's Anthony?
D. Anthony.
Oh, D. Anthony.
Yeah, I always forget. I call him Anthony. I always forget it's D. Anthony.
You're funny.
Remember. All
That's
right.
my guy. That's my guy.
Yeah, he's the man.
Oh, what's up,
Oh,
fellas?
and this crazy haired guy.
What's up with that hair? You got to be ready for the live. You can't hair
I
like
am
that.
ready.
All right, guys. So
Oh,
we have so I sent it over to D'Anthony, so he's probably gonna jump on, and then Bustamante might jump on as well. And then Steve said he's got a dinner to go to, but basically, so where we're at with this, so let me kind of fill everybody in, and then I'm probably gonna be so we got 4 people watching, so I might be repeating some of the stuff too, to make sure if there's people that come in. And the big thing to me, the way I look at this is, with any type of rankings, the people that are going to jump on or share comments are the ones that truly care. So that's the biggest thing is I want feedback from everybody, but the feedback is, you got to give your feedback when it's time. And then, hey, just a heads up, John, looks like your camera's backwards. There you go.
playing with some stuff.
There you are, trying to get fancy. All right. So basically, so let me kind of fill everybody in. I don't want to waste anybody's time. So this is where we're at. So I already have, and I'm going to share with you guys. I have a list. I have 3 pages of basically the rules. I also have the rankings done. So what we're going to do is we're going to review all those together, and I want to get everybody's feedback because it's important. I know you guys have been arm wrestling for 5+ years. You have a ton of knowledge. You're experts in Arizona. So the rules, I want to make sure you guys understand, is I reached out to Billy Ortegas. So, and then he's been running the rankings very successfully for a while. So what I wanted to do is just to pick his brain. So I asked him a million questions on every little thing, and he shared like no secret. So he basically shared exactly how he runs his, and they really have no issues over there. So the big thing first one is, guys, they don't include any tournament wins for the rankings, which I saw your comment, John. I think a couple weeks ago, and honestly, it makes sense. When I was looking at the tournament wins, initially I was thinking about, hey, how can we make this even more cool, where we, force people to be more active. And I like the in the hook rankings. I like the way they do it. But the problem is, kind of like Billy was talking about, Eric brought it up as well. I think my brother did too. Is, what if you get a win on that guy early in the tournament, or what if you get a win on him after he's had a couple of tough opponents later, and does he have to win the tournament? So it's super complicated. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just make it easy, and for the rankings, we're just gonna count just super match wins.
I have something that I'd like to
Yeah.
double down on that because that was one of the notes that I had put in. For anybody that doesn't know, I've done this in the past two times with rankings, and it is not an easy task. So I commend. Forgive me, my son is banging on the window, but I uh, I commend Dino and anybody that's helping him with this, because it's not an easy task. Like I said, it's encompassing a lot of different personalities, a lot of different. um, I mean, really, the rules, as long as you keep them simple, I think are what's going to carry this thing through. I'm glad that, once again, these are. It doesn't seem like set in stone. It seems a little bit more flexible. It seems like, hey, if this is what the community wants, that's the direction we're going to go with it. Which I love that. Um, the tournament thing, there's a million different scenarios. What's going on, D'Anthony?
Hey, what's up, Anthony?
Got D'Anthony in the chat. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Are you able to hear us?
I don't think so. Can you hear us?
Turn your volume up.
Yeah, the volume.
You're muted. But
Don't
anyways,
don't
the
mute up.
tournament thing. Another great scenario is, let's say I get a bad draw. I get Eric Wolf round one. I take an L. And then round two, I'm let's say I'm ranked number 5, and I'm on the table with the number 6 rank, and I lose on fouls.
Yeah,
Okay. Now I have, let's say those two losses are the first two losses in the weight class. Now, my question is, if you did tournament wins, would it be based off of who you beat or where you place in the tournament? Because then if you're the first person eliminated or you last place, then does everybody that, places ahead of you, are they placed? That's why the tournament thing
yeah,
just gets super sticky. You know what I mean? There's so many different nuances and, lanes to give people to complain about, which I think is the best thing that you can do, is eliminate those
yeah. We're
routes.
gonna eliminate that. Yes.
Yeah, and make it as simple as possible. What I'd like to offer, and what I'd like to maybe uh, propose, I guess you could say, to the community, and once again, we can repeat this throughout the night if necessary, is very similar to what California does. So if you're familiar with the Bruheim monthly practices, or Bruheim, or whatever it's called, monthly practices that California does, I literally just posted the picture of it yesterday on my story. But it's a non-biased practice where all of California's clubs are expected once a month to get together, and then they do rankings matches with Crispin, their head ref, and they have a full-blown 50, 60 person practice. And you, me, all three of us have been to a practice where we have that amount of people in Arizona. We know that it's possible. We know that it brings camaraderie. It does good things for the community of arm wrestling to have the bigger practices. It only has to happen once a month, if that. But at those big super practices are the opportunities for in which us to have these super matches, because there isn't going to be a promotion. And I'm just speaking for Arm Sports Entertainment, but there's not going to be a promotion that's going to throw super matches weekly, bi-weekly, barely even monthly, if that, for these rankings to move along, and to keep people active. Once again, not every single person on the rankings list has to compete every single month, but it then begs the question and goes into how you would do and how you would handle call outs, which is another big, I don't want to say, just, another um, caveat, or another area of risk, as far as how you set those rule sets for call outs, because it could get sticky with that as well. But I feel like something along those lines would make a lot of sense. I think a super practice where everybody's invited and maybe not expected, but definitely if you get called out, you get called out, you don't go to the monthly practice, then boom, that's your out. You lose your spot or whatever. However you want to do that, however the rule set says for those kind of things. But just the accountability, and then the fact of bringing this community and growing this community together, because what I'm learning is it's very regional. These people want to stick to the areas that they're at, even though an hour drive is nothing for arm wrestling. But it seems like now everyone's kind of sticking to where they live at, and these are the practices that are happening now. So,
All right.
it would be.
So I would say so. Good feedback. So the big thing that I want in these rankings. So this is going to be a little bit different than what you guys kind of saw. So the rankings I look at is simple. I want to give the people the control to do whatever they want. So what I mean by that is, however the people decide, in Arizona that they want to have the matches. So I'll give you an example. So let's say kind of best case scenario. So let's say I call out my brother. So the way it's going to happen, I'm going to call out the rules, and I might call you out. We'll see. So what would happen is he has, and we have 3 months to have our match. And then, for example, let's say John calls me out, or let's say there's three, four, five other people that call each other out. So then what would happen is, to me, this should be professional, where the people they pick a date, for example, and then there's going to be, and I'm going to go over it, is let's say it's Eric Wolf that holds these, and I think he's open to it, or whoever. That's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about this. It's whoever. I don't want to make it, once a month or this where everybody has to go. What we learned from the past is that people really, there's some people that don't want to be with others and things like that. I respect all that 100%. So to me, it's just about having the matches. But let me kind of go over the rules and things like that, and then we'll kind of dissect everything. I want to make this as easy as possible for everybody. But I really like the Texas the rules and how they do it. So let's look at this. Let me give it a second for it to pop up on screen. It's not showing up on my phone yet. I'm gonna give it a. Let's see.
I think the biggest challenge that you have with this thing is, one is who's going to host it. How big of a how big of a can we accommodate that many people at that person's house? And we need to come up with like a schedule. Like every 3 months we have this big practice, and how I can maybe see this happening is like, okay, hey, let's in 3 months we're gonna have a practice at Eric's house, right? So these are all the weight classes. Then you guys start calling people out, and then we'll fill up those slots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But
I
if you have like the onesies, twosies, like then it's just like a sporadic thing, and then you have to like do a practice for those people, and it's like no, it should be a like a scheduled event.
I
yeah
agree, because no offense, but like the reason why I think the leaving it up to the people, so to speak, is I'm not just gonna go drive to some dude's living room
yeah,
to
and we
have
don't want
to
that.
to
No,
No.
to
this is an
rest
arm bet.
Yeah,
to
it's
rest for his match because
yeah,
I'm one of the senior referees. But if you get me at a big practice and I can do 6 or 7 of them and knock them all out, I don't mind at all. But if I'm not getting paid for this and I don't expect to, you're not gonna catch me drive into people's houses for their refereeing for their one single match that they're going to want to record so that they can move their rankings. Like that's just it. That's not. I don't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know that that's how anyone does it. It's at events or it's at like a
yeah,
massive practice of some sort. And I don't care how often the big practice is. I just think that the big practice makes a lot of sense. And once again, Eric's is a central location. It's in the middle of the Metro Valley. Everybody's very familiar with it. I don't want to volunteer for him. But if he wasn't comfortable with doing it, then I could absolutely do it. It's just that it's going to be on my side of town,
Yeah.
which would be
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
John,
super deep.
how likely would it be for something like a Harold's or something like that to host that sort of thing?
Well, once again, this is a conversation that just goes between you and Harold's as far as what you're looking to get accomplished, and what you're looking to do with it. If you're looking for Tim to be involved through Arm Sports Entertainment because they've done business prior, then once again, I don't want to speak for Tim, but that's a whole nother conversation
Now,
in itself.
this isn't anything to do with Tim. This
Yeah.
is us like as a community setting something up.
Well, I don't know the ins and outs as far as how much they would charge us if we didn't involve Tim, because obviously Tim's done business with them before. If we mention them, I don't know. But once again, I don't know the numbers exactly, but they've kind of revamped and remodeled that whole back area. They're looking to do events. They want to do events. They're very open to hosting stuff like that. If they've already done arm wrestling and it's done well for them, then I can't imagine they'd be against it.
Yeah.
It's more or less a good proposal. Um, but I can tell you right now that once again, throwing an event is a lot of work, especially if nobody's really going to get paid from it. You know what I mean?
Okay, well,
And
here's a question. Here's a question. So you brought up a good point about referees getting paid, and I think you should. Should we charge the people who are calling people out, like let's say $5 or something like that? Then we can
no,
pull that money to pay the refs.
no, I don't. I personally don't want to have anything to do with this being a business. I'm not interested in being a part of a new promotion. I'm not interested in trying to turn this into a business proposition. I think if this is going to be the rankings, then it should be free,
it's just the rankings.
just like
Yeah.
every other community does their rankings. And the way I see it is, if I'm a member at a practice, a mega practice, it's my duty as to the community, being a good referee, to lend my services to my friends in my community and ref 6 or 7 matches. Is no big deal to me. I don't expect to get paid from those instances. But what I'm saying is, if you think that I'm going to drive to Avondale to ref a match between two dudes so they can get it on camera, you're paying for my gas. I don't know who is, but you know what I mean? That system and that scenario doesn't make sense. And I'm just speaking from one of the senior referees. I can tell you, Tim's not going to drive to somebody's house. I'm not going to drive to somebody's house. I don't want to speak for D'Anthony, but D'Anthony probably would get pretty sick and tired of doing it, every so often. So I just think a mega practice, and however how often, I think just makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah. So guys, so hold on. So we'll figure all that stuff out. This is just the rankings and the rules.
Yeah.
So the thing is with being a ref and all that, we'll go into it. The people who are certified that can ref, you guys charge whatever you want to charge, and you do it however you want. This is just putting in the rules, the how and all that stuff, business, no business, whatever. This is just the rankings and the rules. I just want to get your guys'
Yeah,
feedback
yeah, yeah.
on
Go
some
for
of
it.
this basic stuff. But again, the most important thing why a lot of this stuff fails, I mean, just so you guys know, is you know this has to be run with super seriousness, and the rules have to be put in place. And it's, to me, I mean, I'm gonna sound cheesy, but arm wrestling is sacred to me, and I take this stuff super serious. So yeah, I don't want to see, like Tim said, a backyard matches. And what that means is, like you said earlier, okay, I challenge you. Okay, I'll be at your house at 5 o'clock. Let's see if John's available. It's not gonna be any of that stuff, and I'm not gonna count any of those for the rankings. What can happen is, for example, let's say there's 5 people that want to have a match. They connect with, let's say, Eric or whoever the organizer is going to be, and then that organizer sets up the event. But let's take this one step at a time, because this stuff is complicated. So the Texas rules are, the first one that they have is only super matches count toward the rankings with official call outs. Number
Are you
two,
able to are you able to click that? You're on this is Restream, right? So you can actually click that screen and you can say share to screen, and it'll maximize. It'll kick all of us out. and it'll still be able to hear you, and everybody will be able to read that PDF.
Yeah, how do I? Let me see
So
here.
there should be in your main controls underneath your screen. There's a list of controls. One of them is share screen,
Okay, let me
and
close
you
this.
just need to pick which screen you want to share. And I
Oh,
think if you click that one, it'll just maximize it into the full thing. I could be wrong.
What's up,
yeah,
Matt?
I was messing around with it earlier. Let's see here. Performance warning. Let's see here. What's up, Matt? How you doing?
Good. How about you guys? Can you hear me good?
Yep.
All right. Where are we at? What are we talking about?
Hold
Let's
on one
get
second.
these rule sets up on the screen.
Add
Oh, I
screen
see it.
share. Okay. So one says current tab, one says window, and the other says entire screen. Which one is it?
Entire screen, but you'd have to share make sure it's not your face, but the PDF.
Get out of the way. Oh, you gonna get in here? I gotta get in there.
Can't share the screen. Please update system permissions. Okay, no big deal. Because what I'm going to do after this is what's it called? I'm going to send this out to everybody, so everybody will have it. So let me go through this stuff. Let me see if I can zoom it in. Maybe I think that will help. See if zooming right here, maybe full screen. Okay. All right. So this is the best that it's going to happen. Okay. So then number two, it says, so again, this is exactly what the Texas rules are.
What
So,
was number one again? I'm sorry.
yep, number one, it says only super matches count toward rankings with official callouts. Now, the other thing I'm going to get through well, let me get through this and then we'll get to it. Number two, opponents have to weigh in on the day of the match or the day before. So it's a 24-hour period. There's a 2-pound weight allowance. I mean, just like tournaments. Number three, each match is a best of five. Other than the number one ranking can be best of three or best of five. If poolers can't agree, then it's best of five. So it's the number one ranking guy dictates that. Number four, everyone that is challenged has to accept or forfeit the match. So you get a 90-day time frame to prepare and have the match. Okay. And then underneath that, so a forfeit. So if you don't accept the match, what happens is you drop one spot on the rankings. That challenger would take that ranking that he challenged you for if you didn't accept his call out. So if somebody refuses to have a match or forfeits 3 times, then they can be removed from the rankings, and then they can climb back up whenever they're ready. Okay, and then let's see here, and then also he had on here. So there is no rules on, for example, number 10 has to challenge number 8 or number 9. Number 12 can challenge number 1. That's why the money is going to be in place. All right, so number 5, it says no limit on how many spots one can challenge up. Yep, that's that part. Number 6, to stay on the rankings, you need 1 year activity in the class. You hold a ranking to maintain the spot. That could be either an official super match or any tournament in the United States or overseas. Now, Arizona did, when I put the poll out, majority of the people wanted to be ranked in multiple weight classes, which is fine. So that just means, guys, that on that 1 year activity, you would have to, if you want to be in different weight classes, you would have to compete in those weight classes. So just a
Well,
heads up.
what's the point of that?
And can I use an example? Like Joseph is going to be ranked number one in basically everything from 198 below, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but why? Why do we need to do that?
Yeah, that's really silly.
Okay. So good
I
feedback.
don't think they understood that.
Yeah, it could be. So we can follow up on that stuff. So a lot of this is not set in stone. That's why I wanted to bring you guys in to kind of pick your brain on some of these details.
Well, before we go any further,
Yeah.
can you just explain what the pros of doing it that way would be?
So the pro, I think what a lot of people were thinking, for example, if you have Ado that's ranked 242, and then he's also ranked at 220, for him to defend that 220, he would have to drop down to the 220. So it gives him incentive if he wanted to be ranked in both classes. So it's kind of I guess the way they look at it is, if you're strong, you're strong. You're okay with dropping weight and all that stuff. So I think that's how
The
we're
funny
looking.
thing is, the people who have these opinions will never get ranked anyway.
Well, and no, I mean, no offense, but that's what an overalls list is for. And I think if I'm not mistaken, you plan on doing an overalls list, and
Maybe.
then you plan on doing a weight class list, correct?
Yeah, so I have the weight class list. The overalls is a little bit complicated. I might hold off on that one because that one is a lot of it's a lot more judgment than the weight. But again, we're open. I mean, the other thing,
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. What do you? Yeah, I'm confused as
sure,
far as.
sure. So the other thing I want to finish is, Arizona voted for multiple weight classes, but something that you guys want to remember. And for example, Texas, you can only be ranked in one weight class. So if we're gonna do it professionally, I originally wanted to have people just weigh in one weight class. To me, makes sense. But I will do what the majority of the people want. So, but again, we'll figure that stuff out. Now, the second part you were asking me, what was the second part about the overalls?
Yeah, what's the problem with the overalls?
So the overall, so what I want to do is I want to get this easy stuff down, and I want to get this going on the other weight classes, and then the overalls, because on the original overalls, it's just like the weight one. It's based. The original list is going to be based on Aries, and then whoever you beat, then I'll put you in front of that person. Now for the overalls, it's a little bit more complicated because you have people in different weight classes. So I don't know. So we'll kind of tackle one thing at a time. It's difficult. I want to make this as easy as possible for everybody, and I want to create no drama. I want this to be easy because this stuff is like you said, John. It's a lot of work, and it's we'll start it off this way, and then we'll see if there's buy-in, if people like it, if they don't like it. If people don't like it, they don't want it, I'll just delete it. So to me, this is just a service I'm going to do for Arizona because arm wrestling is sacred to me. So the overalls, we can still do that. I want to see the feel of the people. I want to see what the people think. Once we get this going in a couple weeks, I want to also see who shows up at the Tim event and things like that. So
But I think what you need to understand is there's two different ways. There's either you're going to let the community decide and do whatever the hell they want, or you're going to go by what you've learned from other professionals that have done the rankings
yeah,
before.
it's
And
both.
that's
So
the only there's only two ways. There's only either you make the rules or you let people that have no idea what they're doing decide these things. And
yeah,
no offense, but like the weight class thing, being ranked in multiple weight classes is a great example of that. That's going to get so messy. You're going to have
it will be
basically
nice.
the same names
Yep.
ranked in every single weight class. That is the exact same thing as doing an overalls list. I think what you're afraid to say about an overalls list, is that you're afraid to hurt people's feelings, or you're afraid to get it wrong, or you're afraid to make people feel like they they should be on it and they maybe aren't because they don't compete, or this person's really not. That's the whole beauty of this whole monthly practice, or this whole thing, is that is your accountability setter right there. If
Yeah,
you
I
don't
agree.
go, you don't get to be on the rankings.
Well, yeah.
And if
So it's more complicated than that. Like I don't want to force people to go to
but
some
you
other
are
event.
forcing people to abide by a rule set.
Well, yeah, I mean it's different. Like we have to be flexible with this stuff, guys. When I say I'm getting people's ideas, thoughts, and all, this is just to get the list going. Like for this one, that's why I have you guys on. Once I have this nailed down 100%, there is no more changing, and then we're good to go. But we'll worry about all that stuff. I mean, we're trying to solve a lot of different things.
I
We'll
think this
figure it
stuff
out.
is way easier than we're talking about.
All right. So the rankings. So let's continue this because there's a lot of stuff. So for example, so what Texas does, and I like this. So for example, you should get rewarded if you're ranked higher. So for example, for the top five rankings, they have a dollar amount they require to accept the match. So for example, if the challenger wins the match, they keep the money and then they keep the ranking. But if that challenger loses the match, then the person that they challenged keeps the money. So I want to make it simple. So if I challenge my brother, let's say he's ranked number one and we have this as 300. So he would have to bring that to that event. He gives it to the referee or to the event organizer, whoever it is, the 300. If me as the challenger, if I win, I keep that 300. If he wins, he keeps that 300. So it's a motivation to for people to fight for top spots. Now the way he has it in Texas is so it's first through fifth, and then first place is 300, second place is 250, third place is 200, fourth place 150, and then fifth place is 100. And again, it would be super messy to have people ranked in different weight classes. So again, I'm open to changing that because I think all of us are on the same page. And then Matt Bustamante, are you able to hear us, man?
Yeah, I got you. I'm just on mute because I'm in a loud garage.
So what? So I want everybody's feedback. So what's so Matt? Just so you guys know, he's from Tucson. So you got some of the guys over there. So what do you think about this? People being ranked in multiple weight classes, or just have one weight class per person? What do you think? What does Tucson think?
I can see wanting to do like, ranking Joseph in the 198s and the 185s. It looks good for him. It looks, from the outside looking in, someone could be like, that's a real dominant dude. But I agree with John. I think it's just a little too much, too many hoops to go through, too much. If we could make this as objective as we can, as little room for oh, but what about this? What about that? I think that obviously is what we want. And I feel like while I like the idea and think it could be cool, I just don't really think it's I don't think it's the best way to move with it. I think we should have the weight classes and then an overall rank.
Okay, so you like the overall ranking also, right?
I think that's I don't personally have any issues with that. I would personally as an arm wrestler, I'd care a lot more about my weight class ranking
Yeah.
versus the overall ranking because I am years and years and years away from being on that. But the 242s, especially left-handed, that's something where I could like really work towards and set my goals there and
And once
go from
again,
there.
if you work hard enough to get to the top of the 242 list in the left-handed, and you do get to the top and you do get to the first place, there's a very good chance you are on the overalls list just by proxy.
Yeah, good point. And then now let me ask also the chat. Let's make sure that I see Carlson in the chat. What's
How
up,
many
Carl?
people are watching?
Let's make sure that we're not missing anything because I think all of us are on the same page of just having people ranked under one weight class because it's more professional, it's less work, less errors. That's important. We don't want any errors. If there's anybody in the chat that disagrees, that's why I wanted to have this. Let me know, and then. But let's move on. So for right now, I would say I agree with everybody on here to have it just based on one weight class to eliminate that, and then it's up to the chat if anybody has a different opinion, share that. Now, so the second thing, so for Arizona, no, again, this stuff can be a little bit complicated. So for this first original list, I asked the majority again. That's also important. I want everybody to be bought in. So for the first list, and I mean, to me, I think John was saying it earlier. It really doesn't matter on the first list who's ranked where, because if you want a spot, you just challenge the person and you beat them. So it really doesn't matter for this first list. So I was looking at using the Aries results from the last 2 years, and then the if somebody beat somebody, for example, like Carlos Zamorano, he beat Ado at King of Baja last year at whatever I think it was left 242. That means Carlos would take that. Let's say Ado was number one, he would take that number one spot. Ado would move down to two. So that's what we were looking at. What do you guys think about that?
So you would have to go through everybody individually in airs and see who beat. That's going to be way too complicated.
Well, no,
Just take
this,
the top 10 guys in Aries in every single weight class, and just stick them there,
yeah.
and then have them like figure it out.
Okay. So you think so? Because I have right now, I'll go down. We'll get there. So all I did is I took the Aries list and I just put it down there. So okay. So what do you think about that, John? Is the first initial list just use Aries and just disregard who beat who in the last 2 years?
I um this once again, this is just really tough based on somebody that's done the rankings twice. I personally would never base rankings off of ratings, and
Yeah.
the
I
main
agree.
reason is because data tells a different story
Yeah.
than matches do.
Yeah.
And number one, there's a lot of people that compete a lot. Like
Yeah.
for instance, Lewis would probably have a much higher errors rating just based on how active he's been over the last 2 years in tournaments,
Yeah.
where he could probably be number one in the state as far as left-handed goes based on the left-handed matches he's done. It doesn't mean that that's true. That doesn't mean that he's better than Edo. That doesn't mean he's better than Olmstead. That doesn't mean he's better than, a lot of people that aren't as active. So
Yeah.
I think unfortunately what has to happen for the beginning list, what I've done in the past, and you can do it how if you want to do it by ratings and let it work itself out, it's not really any different than this. I just think rankings are based off of accuracy. It's the whole point of it. You want there to be accurate data. And I think the most accurate thing is based off of you getting a group of, you would usually have a committee or a group of people that know basically everybody in Arizona and where they would fall. But another question that I would beg to ask is how deep do you go
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
your rankings? So are you going to go every weight class top 8? Are you going to go every weight class top 10? Are you going to go every weight class top 25? Are you going to go only open? Are you going to have amateur weight classes? I
No.
mean, sorry, are you going to have
Yeah.
amateur rankings? Are you going to have masters rankings? If you're going to just rank everybody in open, even though they're an amateur, do they not get ranked? Are they an honorable mention? It goes so deep into these things
Yeah.
when you're talking about creating the beginning list. It really, unfortunately, has to be off of opinion, and then let the sharks eat themselves if they have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Give them a platform to battle it out and to make it make sense, and have them create the essential list themselves without making it about, oh, this is where I deserve to be. Because I love you, Dino, but whether or not you could set whatever parameters you want, you're still going to get a bunch of people that are going to bitch at you and say, hey, this is where I want to be, or this is where I think I should be, or this is
Oh yeah. No
incorrect,
matter
or this,
what.
this, or that.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter what. That's the thing, and that's why I'm okay with it. The opinion stuff. I really don't care about. An hour, and once I put that overall list, I was getting what messages left and right where people were saying I should be this, I should be that. So I want to eliminate all that. So that's why what I want to do is it's going to be the first initial list is Aries, and then within the last 2 years, because to me all that matters is who beat who, and then if Carlos beat my brother, he's going to be ranked above him. But us continue. I mean, great feedback. So let's get into the referee stuff, because this is also super important. Where we want to make this official. So all events will need to have certified referees for the match to count. So a certified head ref and a certified down ref. Matches need to follow the official rules. The head ref needs to be one of the people on the list, or you can bring your own head ref that is certified from another state, expenses paid by you. So this is who I have. So they would need to have one of these certified referees as the head ref at any of the events. So it will be, of course, Tim Talmadge, John Belak, D'Anthony Miller, Steve West, or Leander Realbird. Now, all of these guys have a ton of experience. They've all have been head refs, so it can be any one of them. Now, the part I'm going to leave to you guys, I know you said, John, you'll do stuff for free and all that. All that stuff is up to you guys. You can charge or do whatever you want, but if somebody wants to have an event, have matches, you need one of these guys, so you'll need to connect with them. Now, for the certified down ref, I have here Jake Ventura. It can be also Andre. It can be Mikhail, or he volunteered. If he's going to come down, Raymond Cote from Cali. Now, I don't. Now, you guys tell me. I mean, John would know better. Is there anybody in Arizona that I should add as a head ref or as a down ref?
No, I mean you can add Scott West as a down ref if you want.
Okay, is he certified?
No, but I don't know that
Okay, yeah, I
Andre is.
can't. So that's the thing is,
Is Andre?
I thought he was. He said he has a certification.
Well, define certification.
Yeah, because like no offense, I don't once again, I don't want to
Yeah,
like step on any toes. And Leander has many more years refereeing than I do. I'm almost positive he doesn't know senior certification.
yeah,
If I'm wrong, then once again, there's no disrespect, but the only seniors in the state that I know of are myself, D'Anthony, and Tim. I don't believe that Steve is a senior. I could be wrong, unless he just recently got it. Once again, I just may have not been there, and once again, I would trust him to do it. But realistically, yeah, I mean it's me, Tim, and D'Anthony really that have been certified by a like a Bill Collins or a Leonard Harkless for a senior referee. Um, Once again, Steve is the only one I really have in question. Any one of us can also be a down ref. I know that Mikhail is a certified down ref by Boom Hancock, and Leonard Harkless. I know that obviously, Leander has a junior certification through Leonard Harkless. I'm almost positive of that. I know that Steve has his junior license, which would consider him a down ref, certified. Um,
yeah.
so
See,
yeah, I mean, once again, if you really wanted to, you could ask for certifications, like you do asking for weight results. If you're going to weigh people in, you can ask for referees to prove their certifications. I mean, I have mine hanging up on the wall. I have two of
yeah,
them.
because I seen so the way I look at it like this, and so I want to be a little bit flexible with this stuff. So to me, experience refing is also super important. And what I mean by that is, like you said, Leander has been refing for a very long time. I mean, he's been a head ref at his events. He's been a head ref at at Tim's events. I've seen Steve be a head ref for matches. So to be fair to those guys, I mean, since they've been head refs at matches at Tim's events, I want they should be on the list, for head ref. That's the way I look at it. It's both experience
Well,
and
so
certification.
the rule is not you have to be certified then.
Well, I mean, that's what the other tournaments and things like that. I want to.
Well, then what's the rule for how does one be accepted as a ref then? You have to have some sort of criteria.
Yeah, which Steve and Leander do. They're just not. They don't have the certification for head ref. So I would like to leave. And again, this is my opinion. That's why I'm having you guys on, the experts. It would be tough to limit it just to Tim, John, and D'Anthony to do it. It would for all of Arizona. And again, but Steve and Leander, they've been head refs at
Yeah, but
different.
I also have no doubt that I have no doubt in my mind that Mikhail, Steve, and many others plan on within the year getting their senior certification, or within the next 2 years getting their senior
I doubt it
certification.
too. Yeah.
And realistically, it just motivates more people to do it. I don't think that it's necessary. I think that really 4 to 5 head referees in a state is probably maximum. That's above average for most states for arm wrestling. The fact that Tim and D'Anthony are as accessible is I mean, it's not that hard, but once again, I think what we just keep running into is the fact of whether or not you want to be flexible and let the community decide and be easy
Yeah.
on it, or whether or
So
not you want to have a rule
yeah.
set
So
in
so for
place.
this part, it's not the community. It's got to be. It's a combination of what you guys think, and honestly, more importantly to me, because you are a ref, because you certified. To me, it's more of what you think, because you know this better.
Yeah,
Um, so to me, I would lean more on what you think. And okay, so we have a very, very good point from, I think this is
Tim.
from Tim. He says, Armor Sports. So safety is key, and only ones have been ref at any events are John, Steve, and D. Not sure Leander is a head ref, but would use him as a down. Please define certification. Okay, so what Tim is saying. So again, Tim is also an amazing ref. I also value his feedback. So Tim, so what you're saying that you're okay with Steve being a head ref, but not Leander because he doesn't have the certification. And is that what you're saying too, John? Are you, because the safety and all that? Are you
I think
leaning
he's
more
talking
towards
about Donald
than
and that and
Leander
that
just being
Yeah, I think
down
he's
ref?
talking about Donald.
I think he's talking about Donald in that last comment. And what I think is, I think I'm mistaken, Dino. And I think Steve West did receive his
What do you
certification
think?
from Bill Collins at this most recent, what's the Cocoa Pot tournament.
Got young kid's name up north. He's great. Down ref, almost ready to be up ref. Okay, so I think you
Because
might be talking about Donald Mata.
yeah, that's what
Let
we were
me
just
know if
saying.
that's Donald.
Yeah. I
I
think
don't
I
know if
think that
John is
Steve is a
talking. I
senior.
can't. His audio. Let me go back to this.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, it looks like you're talking, but we can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Looks like brother. Are you talking to brother? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear everyone.
Oh, so it's Dino, huh?
Donald. Okay. Yeah, weird. I can. I hear you guys talking, but I can't hear you.
It's you, bro.
Is it me you can't hear?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I might have had myself on mute and I was just talking. All
Uh,
right. My bad. All right. So Tim says Donald. Okay, so I can add Donald for the down ref. All right. And my bad, guys. You were probably talking. So what do you think, John, about Steve and
Yes. So what I said is I'm mistaken. Steve, I'm almost positive, received his senior level referee from Bill Collins at this most recent Cocoa Pop. At the first Cocoa Pop, I believe we tested him and he failed, and he just got junior. Tim, maybe back me up on this. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe Steve at this most recent Cocoa Paw, which was like April of 2025, he did receive his senior, because since then Tim has offered and we have had him head ref at events, because I believe he's certified. So Steve is outside of the question. I don't want to speak for Leander because I don't personally know. Like Steve is somebody, he's like technically on my team, so I can speak a little bit more confidently about it. Um, and Steve, from a rule set standpoint, there's just no question. Yeah, so I'm thinking that's what he's backing me up on and saying that. So
so
um,
for Leander, we'll just put check certification, and then we can add Donald Mata on here as a down ref. All right, and again, you guys just tell me on this stuff because it's important for for it to be official. Okay, and then again, so what we have here, so we'll leave this as is, and then Leander, if you're listening, you just let us know if you have the certification to be a head ref. I mean, I seen him head ref at different events, so I don't know. But
There's no question. There's no question that he has been trusted. He is a trusted referee. We all love Leander. I would
yeah,
trust him to ref my match. That's not at all what we are saying. We are saying specifically if we're going to go by certification rule set, I don't know and I don't think anybody knows truly what his certification is unless he's stated it to somebody, you know what I mean, and talked about it. But the fact that he's head refed is just, you know, he's a promoter himself, you know what I mean.
right,
If
yeah,
he's
yeah, good point.
So
Yeah,
if he's done his own event, that doesn't really say much. You know, if he's only refed for an alternative to like to walk in, that's one thing. I know Dustin Allen has used him, but Dustin Allen has used all types of different people to ref his events. So
yeah,
there's by Arm Sports, there's a couple guys that couple become an up ref in time, but they need to show up to events and down ref to get in time in with experienced refs that will teach them. Yeah, I will say to double down on what Tim is saying, as a referee, as a young referee, the best thing that you can do is travel and start to learn how other referees how they ref. Oleg Skantimurovs, Bill Onifray, and I would say Anthony Dell'Antonia from Canada are people that I've probably learned the most from when it comes to, well, besides Tim, obviously, because I spent so much time with Tim, but I just mean like I would have never got the opportunity to ref with these people if I didn't put myself in those positions to go outside. And when you just ref in your backyard, I've done it. Trust me, you think you
yeah,
know it all and you think you've got the rules down and that's it. There's so much more that goes into being an actual professional referee, from nuances to details. So I would highly recommend it. If you get an opportunity to go to a Vegas, California, you've got Bill Collins. It's a great person to get certified from. Leonard and Boom are right in Vegas. Great people to get certified from. So there we go. He did it.
oh, that's it. All right, hey,
Madman, you figured it out.
an old dog can learn new tricks. All
See,
right.
I knew you could do it.
Perfect. So, and then now let me ask you guys. So again, so what I'm gonna do is that's why I wanted to have you on, John, and it's awesome that we got Tim on. So that's exactly what we're gonna do is going forward. So we'll just these are the people, and then Leander, if we'll put him down as a down ref. If he has any type of certification that's similar to you guys or exactly the same or higher, then I can just add him on here. So no big deal. So let's do that. Now, before I go to the rankings, let me just ask you guys, everybody that's on here, like Texas, this is the money they have for first through fifth place. What do you guys think about this? Should we increase this? Should I decrease it? Is it fair? Is it not fair? To me,
Let me ask: Is it a requirement?
that's exactly right. It's a requirement. So if somebody is ranked in these first through fifth, it's up to them. They can ask for this. If they're a nice guy, they don't have to. But for example, if Tim's number one in a weight class, he can ask for this, no problem.
I
So
think
that's
it should
how.
only be first place. And I think the first place guy should not be allowed to ask for more than, I think, a very reasonable number. I don't think anybody else has the right to um, set a price or get paid for it. I don't think fifth place is that prestigious in Arizona, just based on the fact that in open class, you may not even have five people to a weight class. Like,
Good
like
point. Very,
realistically,
very okay.
like
I didn't think of that.
and
So,
then not
so
only that, but like I'm gonna use myself as an example. Dude, I'm not a financially stable guy as good of an arm wrestler as I am. There's a lot of young dudes that are in the same boat. It's not fair that I have to have a financial setting in order to be a good arm wrestler. It doesn't make any real sense unless I'm going for that number one spot, and that number one spot is held by somebody that truly deserves it. And once again, I have no doubt that that will be the case in this instance. But realistically, I just don't think it should be an unreasonable amount. Like, I think over $1,000 is absolutely asinine to ask for any super match. None of us are celebrities. None of us are Devin Laird. None of us are at East versus West, other than Tim. I don't think there's a reasonable, and I don't think Tim is in this for money, so I don't think he would care to even offer for money for a match. But I'm just saying, I'm using him as an example because I know him. But let's just say, for example, the other weight classes that have number one spots, if they've worked hard enough to get it, then I do believe that they should be compensated if they feel so right too. But dude, I've heard crazy stuff. I've heard $2,500. I've heard, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that's just unreasonable. It doesn't make any sense to me. And basically, what you're doing is you're saying, get your money up before I even have to compete with you, because it's really not about arm wrestling. It's about how much money you have.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
also, I mean, when we're comparing different states, I mean, the reality is, Texas is a huge state. They're super deep with arm wrestlers. I mean, that's the thing. And this list that we're going to look at, you asked earlier, is it going to be amateurs? Is it going to be pro? Like, I really don't want to do a pro and an amateur list. It's just going to be open, pros, and then I'm going to have youth. Um, and then women as well. But I really don't want to. I know in the past there's amateurs and stuff like that, but that's why we have Aries, for different things. So this is just going to be for the pros, for the open, and then fair point for so first, second, and then brother, what do you think about? So first place makes sense, maybe second, third. So should we eliminate fourth and fifth place because the state is just not deep enough? So what do you
What
think?
as far as the money?
As far as having any money requirements to challenge them, the
I
spot.
I, I agree 100% with what John said.
Okay, so just first place is what you think.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else in the chat? What do you guys think? So, and D'Anthony says Cleveland arm wrestling team just has two classes under 200 and over 200. Yeah, I get it. So let's do so for sure. So I'm not dead set on the fourth place and fifth place as anything. I mean, to me, the top three is usually what everybody's kind of striving for. So we can eliminate this for sure. I like first, second, third because yeah, so we can leave this open. But the 300, 250, 200, if we go with that, okay. So Tim also says first place. Okay. Anybody else says anything different? Like I said, I'm open to doing it how you guys think. Texas has been doing it this way. It's proven. So, all right. So John Carlson says first. Tim says first. Both of you guys says first. So that's four. Anybody else? This is your chance. All right. Motion has passed. So we'll just do it first. And then Tim and John, well, and then I know what John, what you said, but 300, should we make it 500, 300? What's fair? I mean, Tim, you're probably going to be first on a lot of lists. So what do you think is fair?
well, once again, you just said a lot of lists. So are you going back to saying that you're going to do multiple weight classes?
So no multiple. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. No, I'm just saying like in general he would be. Yeah, so I would say yeah, no multiple weight classes, and then based on what you guys, what your
Yeah,
feedback, we'll just give place
I don't think it needs to move at all. I don't think it needs to
300.
be more than what it is. I think what
Okay.
it should be is, I think first should have a cap of 500. So
Okay.
like you can't ask for more than that. If the guy that is challenging the first place guy is a broke dude and says, "Hey, I can only offer 250," then the guy can, then the champ can say, "Yeah, I'll take your 250 because I know I'm going to beat you, but you don't have to make 500." You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I
So
mean, at first you can say what, however. So okay, so we got John that says 300. Armor Sports says 10,000. I like that. And then very good point by Tim. By Tim, that's why I want to have you guys on because Texas, it's a huge state, so a lot of their rules, it's gonna be, it's not gonna apply to us. And like Tim says, you also have to travel to pull guys in the top five because state it's so big, and that's probably why they have those money amounts to help those guys to for the gas money. So John says 300. Carlson. So John, you think up to 500, brother? What do you think?
I like the cap of 500. That way, Tim doesn't say, "Oh, 10,000," or like Rocco used to say. Rocco said to Sid one time, he's like, "Okay, $5,000," like just something retarded. So 500 cap makes sense.
Yeah, and like Carlson said, he's got to travel. Or yeah, to me, the first place is prestigious. I mean, that's something everybody shoots for. So 500 to me makes perfect sense because that's the guy that earned it. He should be able to ask, up to 500. And if he's got to, shift his schedule around, like Tim was saying on the other chat, he's got his whole year planned out. Yeah, I mean, the thing is going to be, and then let me scroll up because you guys probably didn't see some of this stuff. I want to add something in here that Steve West said last time. So, what Texas does is, if you're challenged, you have 90 days to have the match. But he also said, like, hey, if you have an injury, then you get another 3 month extension. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know about that because you're gonna. I'm not gonna name names, but I know a couple people that will just be injured for 8 months of the year.
Okay, good point.
I mean, once again, I think that it should be um, legitimized, and like what other states do is like I know what Utah does is they put their that name in red, and if your name is in red for longer than 2 months without of any competition, then your name is removed, and then you have an opportunity to obviously compete for your spot at any given moment whenever you want. And I think that's very fair. I don't know what time limits you want to set or what time limits, but I
Yeah,
think like
one
putting your
year.
name in red signifies that you're injured, you're not calling anything out. So maybe there's no point in calling that person out. You know not to call that person out because their name is in red.
Oh, I
And then
see
if
what you're saying.
their name stays in red for long enough, then the people can raise hell and say, "Hey, what the fuck? This dude's been red for 6 months," or whatever it is. But at least it's a way to hold the list accountable and signify you know color coordination for the arm wrestling for dummies.
I like that a lot. That makes perfect sense to me. So if you're injured and you're holding up, you're the second rank or third rank, obviously you're holding up the spot. I didn't even think of that. So then your name goes in red, and then you have up to what? So you're thinking maybe up to 6 months to compete or to forfeit the ranking or to forfeit the spot.
No, I would say 3 months.
So it's 3 months still goes on. Okay, so if you're injured, so okay, so then the rule applies of you have to accept the match. You got to have it within 90 days. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
what California does?
I am not sure. I am not sure. Once again, I'm not sure whether or not California base. I believe California bases their rankings off of tournaments wins.
Yeah.
So they
All
do
right.
things a lot differently. I'm not 100% sure how they do that. But the 60 days makes a lot of sense. Even if you are, I mean, there's 90 days makes a lot of sense, even if you are injured. I think if someone gets challenged, they should try to first agree on the date within the calendar year. If they don't, then should be a 6 month cap. Yeah, but that's coming from the guy that's literally on a plane 2 weeks every month. You're the only one that can't show up, bruh.
Yeah. Okay, I was just okay. If they don't, should
Six
be
six
six
months is
months.
just 6 months to me is just crazy because then you only have to compete twice a year. And to me, that's not really being active, is it?
They should try to first agree on a day within the calendar. Yeah, I mean the calendar year. That's the problem, Tim. Is that's way too long. Like, yeah, you can't hold up a spot for the whole year. And I agree. It's 90 days. It's more for people that are going to be active, and I would say also within reason too. I mean, if someone has their whole year planned out, and that's why the $500 is in there. If someone pays the first guy, the 500, he's gonna, you know, make the date. So let's just so for right now we'll leave the 90 days.
Tim says, do these challenge matches have to be at an event or can be done anywhere with a certified referee? I mean,
Yeah,
people pull outside of AZ. So we talked a little bit about that, Tim. It's a matter of trying to get a community practice going or practices going that we can knock some of these ranking matches out, because if enough people, once again, the whole idea of this is to get people to care. If enough people care about it, there will be enough call outs, especially if you ruffle enough feathers in the beginning list. And
yeah,
if that's the case, your first three practices, your first three big practices are going to be really big. You could have anywhere from 5 to 10 matches at those practices. And that's what's going to really solidify and build your list. That's what's going to build your traction. That's what's going to build your growth. That's what's going to build making this thing really easy and letting it do its own thing. But if you leave it in the hands of people to do it on their own, and have it turn it through tournaments or actual events. That, I mean, how many actual events do we have a year? I think maybe, and locally maybe five if
yeah.
we're lucky.
Yep, and again, so that part, we'll figure all that stuff out. This is also a great way for others that want to be involved, that want to throw down events and all that. That's going to be up to them. I don't want to make it, and again, it's flexibility. That's why the rules are this simple. You just have to have a ref, a head ref, and a down ref. And then also, I don't know if I mentioned this stuff before right here. Okay, so for the event, so the event needs to have a host or a promoter that's responsible for the weigh-ins and for them to send the results to me after the event. Obviously, I would, for me, I'm gonna probably send it to Aries right after. But yeah, so the event needs a host, and then for example, let's say it's Eric. So if it's Eric, let's say he wants to host it, that would mean that Eric or whoever would
I
need to.
think your answer is in the comments right now. Read the comment. Read Tim's last comment.
Yeah, it's pulling up right now. It's a little bit slow on my end. So, but yeah, it would be an event anywhere in Arizona, and it's got to be. What I'm thinking is right here. The event needs to have a witnesses of 10 plus people. Needs to have a minimum of 3 matches. No guidelines for tournament events. I mean, for example, if Tim does an event, he's got one super match. That's obviously fine. And then I would recommend to have each match be recorded for proof. But to me, if it's at least 3 matches on an event and there's witnesses of 10 plus people, I have no problem with people having these events. Well, wherever they want, as long as you guys as the head refs and the down ref is involved. So again, I don't want to make this and you can, like, for example, if somebody volunteers, let's say you volunteer.
Okay, so let me just give an example.
Yeah,
Let me just give an example. Let's say that we don't do a monthly, a 2 month, or a 3 month practice. Let's say we
yeah,
don't do that. Okay. And let's say the only opportunity that arises is Eric Wolf's Wolf Den practices, and there's a limit of 9 people that show up every time,
yeah,
and only one referee shows up. And this goes on for 3, 4, 5 months because there is no person throwing practices. There is no person throwing in events. I can tell you right now, the last time I was at a practice that had more than 10 people, it was because I made it that way.
yeah.
It's
I
because
agree.
I'm the one that created 10 plus people there, and I just don't feel like that's. It's. I mean, once again, I could be wrong, but I just don't feel I'm not saying that you by me saying that we should have a every so often practice, a major mega practice every so often, doesn't mean that you can't also have what you're saying by people having it however they want it. I'm just saying at least you have something to look forward to know, hey, I have this opportunity that I'm have to call these people out, rather than thinking I have to create it on my own and I have to make sure 10 people are there.
Yeah, and that part is going to be, to me, John, is like the ownership of who really loves arm wrestling, who doesn't. It's up to the Arizona people who want to host a practice, or however. That's what I'm saying. It's however you guys want to do it, but it's going to be flexible with these rules. So
Do
I,
you think that like
you know,
Rocco, or do you think that like Julius would be that type of person to do that?
So and then let me just add. So Rocco doesn't want to be on the list.
Okay, so let's not
He's
use him
off
as an
the list.
example.
Yeah. So
Let's use Julius as an example.
yeah.
Do you think Julius would be the type of person to gather 10 people so that he could have a super match and then try to like text somebody that's a head ref to say, "Hey, can you come do this so that I can move
Yeah.
in
That's
do you
the
think
free
that you
market. That's the free market. So to me, so that's the part I want to make sure. Like I want to stay in my lane, and the lane is just these rankings and these rules. I don't want to, I don't want to make people do something they don't want. The community, you guys figure out because there's a ton of other arm wrestlers in different cities and all that stuff. There's a ton of groups. So all that stuff will get sorted out. It's who cares about it's who cares about the rankings. We'll make it happen. So we'll leave it up to the community to figure it out. And then if, for example, you do a monthly or 2 month or 3 month, whatever, big practice. If that's what you like, you do it. If somebody else wants to do something a little bit different, they do it. Again, my goal, that's the only way this stuff works is I'm going to just stay in my lane and I'm going to just focus on making this thing, prestigious as possible. Now for the ranking, so all I did, guys, is I just took the Aries rankings as the first initial one, and then I just took out people that are not in the state. And then what we're going to do is for the last 2 years, because again, you can't, like John says, I agree with him 1,000%. You can't just use ratings for ranking. To me, it's who beat who, and to be, like I said, I want to be flexible and fair. And within the last 2 years, because normally we take the last year, but for this first initial list, I know there's been a lot of different events and things like that. So we'll go based off on the last 2 years. And then again, obviously these people are off because they're inactive or they want to be off, no problem. But yeah, not rocket science. So that's what I have, guys. Is right 242. I got left 242 plus, right 242, and then we got left 242. So it's everything that
did I
Aries
did
has.
I see that Tim Costello is ranked above Tim Talmadge?
Right, that's the other thing too. I mean, that's just based on the Aries rankings, and I think his name was on there twice. He competes a lot, so so I don't know if we should just move people around now or wait until people tell me who they beat. What do you guys think?
Um,
Like for example, let me give you an example then. Okay, so right here, so left ranked on Aries is Julius Blair. Okay, so he's number one at 242 plus. Now Juggernaut beat. I don't think he beat him on the left. I think
I
he
can
beat
I
him
can
on the
tell
right.
you right now that you can remove Lewis's name.
Okay, because he would be in just the one weight ranking, right?
No, he has absolutely no interest in being ranked.
Okay,
He
so
made that very clear to me when we were on our way to Illinois.
okay, sounds good. So let's remove him.
When it comes to the rest of the list, I think you just go based off of what you know. I think the easiest way is, I mean, right now you have a pretty good list of guys. Okay, first and foremost, if this is going to be it and we're going to create it, what's the number that we're going to get to? Are we going to get to top 15? Are we going to get to top 10? Are we, because everything looks different right now. One's got
Yeah,
13, one's got 10. They
yeah,
all need to
yeah,
be, they all
yeah.
need to be
So
uniform.
yeah, so what? Maybe unified, maybe not. Because for example, like the right 242, there's 17 people. I want people just to be motivated. I know people like to be on lists. For example, left is
You
deep.
need to do a
Top
top eight.
15.
You need to do a top eight or a top 10. There doesn't need to be more than that.
Yeah, I can't do that. It's too restricted. I want people to be, to have these rankings and then just to challenge
You,
each
you
other.
don't you don't matter then.
So and then the right, so it goes up to 14. So again, this is just what Aries has, just so you guys can kind of see. But then you have right 187 top 8, 187 top 10.
Yeah, 17 people in a rankings is absolutely that's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life for a weight class. It doesn't even make sense. And not only that, but you can't tell me all 17 of those people are open.
Wow, so yeah, I
Edward
mean,
Statzer, Edward Statzer, number 11, never pulled open in his life.
yeah, I mean, it's just what Aries has.
As what? You're saying that you're only doing open. These are amateur people.
Yeah, so
Brandon Oliver never pulled open before.
so I'll show you. I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna go to Aries. Let me go click share. And then anybody else in the chat, what do they think? Let me click. Where's the share? One sec. Screen share. Make sure I have it zoomed in. Maximize. Okay, it's maximized. All right. So all I did on this, guys, is I just went to Aries here under Arizona. So open for each weight classes, and then you can see here they have people listed on here. Let's see here. So this is they have them grouped as all open. They don't have anything as
Okay, well, so that's what I mean is that that's going to be your responsibility to go through and decide who needs to be in there. I think everybody in the group chat agrees. John Carlson said it.
you got
Tim said it. I said it. I'm
10.
not sure why you think that you need to have more than 10 people. If you're ranked under 10, I'm sorry to say it, but you don't matter. You're not in a top. You shouldn't be ranked. You should be working to get ranked. That is the motivation. The motivation is to be ranked. And if you only have 10 spots to do it or 8 spots to do it, then that's your motivation is to make it into those 10 spots. You can do honorable mentions afterwards, but there should be no rankings. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be
Yeah,
a,
good point.
after 10, there shouldn't be a number that goes off of it. It should just be, here's a list of guys that are really good that may crack it here soon, you know?
Cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I like that. Let me go back on the list. All right. So then the chat says so. Carlson says top 10, and then you're gonna do WAF for IFA. So it will be the WAF right here. So 242s. I mean, what do you think, John, for the weight classes? I think it's just what the tournament has, what you guys normally use.
You mean for the WAF or EFO weight classes?
Yeah, I think it should be the WAF.
That's the one thing that I think you should go based off of errors.
Yeah, yeah. I want it to be uniform to airs. Okay, let me go back on this list. Okay, yeah. I mean, what you guys said is pretty valid. Again, that's why I wanted to do this. Yeah. So top 10 is what you guys are saying. Got to work for it. That makes perfect sense to me. It makes my job easier too, not to have 17, 18, 13, 12 people. All right, so that makes sense. And then the hard part is going to be the second part. What I want to do is, I mean, this is just based on what the Aries are, and then what we'll do is let me maximize this again. Okay. And then it's just going to be based on the last 2 years, who beat who. I'm going to put them, I mean, it's going to be tough because it's who beat who at a tournament, at a
So
super
so
match.
so so
What do
right
you think?
now,
Yeah.
make your life easy. Take John Brzenk off.
Yeah, I was going to. I'll shoot him a message to see if he. I don't think he wants to be on there, but out of respect, I'm gonna just leave him and then. What's it called? What he
Dino,
said.
no offense, but you will be so lucky to get a response back from that man. Make your life easy. Take him off. If he responds, then nobody's gonna get mad that you're gonna add John Brzenk back to the list. He has absolutely no problem not being on a list with a bunch of people he barely knows exists. I promise you. I promise you. It's not to look cool. John Brzenk is not ranked within Arizona.
He's not number one.
He's not even. He technically is retired. He technically doesn't arm wrestle anymore.
Yep, I know. All right, so again, this is just going to be the first. Let's see here. Take off 187 and all those other non-WAF classes. Okay, so yeah, so let me check with you then. So I want it to be WAF, so that is 242 plus,
220.
and then 242, right?
Yeah, 242 plus 242,
And then
220,
220. And then what's the
198,
220, 198.
176.
Oh, okay. Okay, so 17. Oh, there's no 187. Okay.
Nope. But once again, if you're going to go by airs, that's different than WAF. WAF is different than airs. Airs is IFA.
Yeah, I want it to be by WAF.
Okay, so then erase 187s.
Okay, so 187. So for you guys, when you do a tournament, what weight classes do you do? Do you have 187?
Nope, take it off.
Okay, you don't. Okay. I wanted to match with tournaments.
198s, 176, 154s.
Let me check 154. There's a 165. So
Nope. Bye.
165. Okay. All right. That makes my job easier. Okay, so 154. And then I got the youth here.
Nope, I'd take him off. Max doesn't want to be ranked in youth, and neither does Ed. And Jonah is in a league of its own. And realistically, he competes in amateur and open now sometimes. So I would completely abolish your youth until you have a reason to do it. Same thing as John Brzenk. I just think like make your life easy until they make a point, until they say something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So.
fair point. All right, so then the weight classes are set for the
And then let's run through it. Let's run through it right now, and I'll help you. And you can delete everything from 8 below right now, and have everybody watching, and anybody that has any discrepancies can speak up.
All right, hold on one sec. So let me make sure on the rules part. Where is it? Arizona needs to promote wins from the result and needs to have witnesses for the match. Needs to. Then let me just add in here because I want to make sure it's technical too. So for the rules, I want it to be, what you guys use in tournaments. It could be WAF. It can be the rules that you use. I know some people, or should I not even put that on there? Because I don't like auto stress and stuff like this.
Type this WAF /ASE rule sets utilized. Or I'm sorry, weight class utilized. Classes. Classes ES. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. And then once again, there's not really going to be many other promotions that are going to operate within Arizona that are going to do anything differently. If a 98% guy came in and wanted to do an event, he's most likely going to adopt WAF rules. And the majority of the promotion events that take place in Arizona are ASE. So.
Okay. So I'll leave it at there. Okay. Perfect.
You might want to change your number 1 though, since it seems like we all agreed on that.
Okay, the weight class is in. So I'm going to put in here. Yes. Potentially. Fix that. Potentially will have.
If you're going to erase anything, I'd erase number 2. That doesn't need to be said.
Potentially will have an. Yeah, no. So this one's important because that's what the majority of the people voted for, is for the list to use the Aries results from the last 2 years. So that just means
Yeah, but you just
whoever
did the same
won.
thing with number one, where everybody voted for that, and then we changed it too.
No,
I mean,
I know, but
I
that was
just mean that right
yeah,
now, aren't we going to
one
go
was
down
good.
and erase the 8 from below, and then I'm gonna tell you right now, there makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense to have Tim Costello ranked. Well, once again, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. I'm going to make
It
your life
won't
easier,
matter.
anyways.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I'm going to
won't.
make your life super easy. So go top 10. You said we're going to do.
So we'll do top 10, and then
Okay.
Tim
Erase Tim.
Costello
Erase.
had and then
Oh,
the
you know
reason
what? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Undo everything you just did real quick. Not the rule, not the weight classes, just the people that you erased. Can you get their names back?
yeah, hold on a second. I'm on the sharing. Let's see here. I need to stop sharing there. Well, just tell me why first.
Because you're going to erase Tim's name. Tim just made 198 pounds in Illinois on January 24th.
Right, yeah,
So,
he's not even a 242.
so if you have 10 people, you're going to need those names back.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, that's the problem. Is however this is done, like I don't want it to be based on like what we think. It's just based on. I think I
It's
stopped.
not. I mean, Tim literally just made a
No, no,
national
no, no.
weight
I know,
tournament at 198
I
pounds.
know, I know. But it was based on the Aries. But and then we remove people that are just not in that weight class anymore.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is we need to remove the people that aren't in those weight classes first, and then establish the top 10 because the rest will work itself out. Because then it won't matter if Tim Costello's number one because the people that he's beaten are probably not going to be there or they're going to be um, amateur. Because that's the other thing that I wanted to make clear is like just because you pulled in an open class and went 0 and 2 doesn't make you an open puller. Especially if you went to, no offense, but if you went to a tournament that had 70 entries and everybody that pulled amateur pulled open just to make up the classes, like that happens all the time. That doesn't make you an open puller.
Yep, I
That's
agree.
why a little bit of this actually does have to be some bit of opinion, and that's why you have somebody running it like yourself, because you do have
Yep,
to be able to make sense of it. You know what I mean?
yep.
Right now, right now, there's absolutely no way Stefan Milne loses to Tim Costello. I think actually Stefan beat Tim at our last tournament in Scottsdale at the Expo.
Okay, so and then let me put in here. Yeah. So what I want to do for this one, so that's the thing is we got it down. I got the bones down. Like I don't want to take your time, and I don't want to take my time for an hour to
No,
nail this thing down. Like it's a waste of our time. It's a lot of opinion. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that top 10 list based on the Aries, and then I'm gonna have everybody just tell me in the last 2 years who you beat at what event, at what weight, and then I'll just update it. And then when I update it, I'm gonna put below who I updated, why, and then when I send out the updates, people are gonna see, like you said, Stephen Mill beat Tim Costello at this event last year, and then we'll be good to go. Okay.
wait. So why are you going to put the asterisk there with that?
Well, no, any update, I want to put asterisk. So when it's for me. So when I send out updates to, for example,
Oh,
Facebook,
okay.
I don't want people to say, oh, why did
I
he
got it.
choose it? Yeah, yeah. So just full transparency. Okay. So yeah, this was great. So we got it down. So it's top 10. We're using WAF. It's gonna be one weight class, and we all talked about why. Um,
Okay,
anything
so
else
I
we're
have a
not
couple
missing?
things. I have a couple things that I wrote down in my notes that you stated earlier that I want to ask whether or
Yeah.
not
I'm gonna get a
this
quick
is.
drink. I'll be
Yeah,
right back.
yeah. So my question, Dino,
Yeah.
is, and actually I thought I had more, but it was really only one that wasn't answered through the night, the live. But if there are a certain ones of us that have absolutely no interest in going back to the So Strong chat, um, I don't think that it's fair to limit the only activity to be within that chat. I think that has become a social chat. I think that has become slightly, I don't want to use the wrong word, but abusive in some people's hands. As somebody that was a moderator of that chat for a long time, I have to have it. I have to have it on mute a majority of the time. It doesn't make any sense, and I have absolutely no interest in going back to being in that group chat.
You don't need to.
But I think it's a disservice to say that you have to be in it in order to be ranked or in order to be
No.
a
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
of the activity rank.
No. So that was more for people. That was my initial thoughts. It's okay. So how do I get everybody's opinion and and thoughts for like these first rules? That was my thought. Okay, let's just get everybody on there and then they share. So then I thought, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't make any sense. So that's why I'm like, you know what I'll do is when I send out updates, I'm gonna put it on my Facebook. I'll put it on the Arizona Arm Wrestling Facebook, and I'm gonna put it on Arm Wrestling Showcase for now. And then, like you guys have been, then you give me the updates on there so everybody can see it, and then that's how we'll change it. But again, once this thing is nailed down and it's 90% nailed down anyway, I think I'm good to go.
Yeah,
Now
it
it's
looks
just
like
gonna be
it looks like the chat answered as well. I don't think that it's necessary, Edo, to kick anybody out of anything. Once
we
again,
don't need to kick them out. Yeah.
I don't want to affect So Strong whatsoever. It's just that there are a lot of voices in that chat that have absolutely nothing to do with Arizona Arm Wrestling, and so it'd be a disservice to have that group chat as the quote unquote spokesperson for our rankings.
No, and it's not. So let me make sure you understand, and
No, no, no.
everybody
You
understands. I
you made
want
it
to
clear.
get opinions from everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah.
voice is important. That's why I posted it also to West Side and every single person. I wanted to get everybody's feedback because it's important, uh, to get everybody's buy-in. But
Yeah.
100%, it's not. That's not the only outlet where I get feedback. There's also
No.
there's two different chats. There's like an Arizona chat that John Carlson is an admin. I also share it on there. I share it on mine. So everybody's opinions count, but like the big thing is I wanted to get experts on you, brother, D'Anthony, and Bustamante, from Tucson. So the good thing is everything is good to go on this, and now I feel better about how the rules look like. It's more official. It's more prestigious. It's not some Wild West thing. Like we initially had. So to me, it's pretty good. But now, what else did you have that you wanted to clarify?
Nothing, nothing. I had a list of things that I thought didn't get brought up, but realistically, throughout our conversations throughout the night, I mean, it was where are we going to cap our list at? Was it going to be a top 10, a top 8? Was it going to be tournaments, not super matches, that kind of thing? I'm
Yeah,
going to make your life easy, Dino. I will start up the first of every 3-month mega practices. You hear
awesome.
it here first from everybody. I want Tucson to be there. I want John Carlson from Shola or from Pine Top to be there. I want everybody that wants to be there, that wants to arm wrestle to be there. It has absolutely nothing to do with rankings. I will state it. I will post it. I will make it down here because it's easy for me because I have multiple tables. I can bring water bottles. I can do all that. I have no problem throwing a mega practice every 3 months. It is super, super, super easy. I've done it a million times. And if that's the avenue in which we'll get everything moving as far as super matches alone, because it sounds like that's what's going to motivate like the list moving is super match activity, then people can throw events and obviously whenever they want as well. It doesn't mean that that's the only time in which is hosted for rankings matches. I'm just saying that That's the time that's the time you're going to catch me there. The guy who I promised to ref these matches for free as my duty to the arm wrestling community of Arizona. If it's just a practice and we have some super matches that need to be handled for rankings, I'm not charging anybody. That's my ode to the community. I have no problem doing these for free to you guys. But I'm also not, I have a 16-month-old son. I have a family, I have a life. I'm not going to be at everything. I'm not going to be at every other practice. I can't speak for the other head refs that are going to do the same, but I can say that if I host it, that I'll be there, right? So I think that at least holds a little bit of the accountability in that instance. Um, and we already have, I'm getting notifications right now from having an Arizona group chat that will be solely, hopefully, just that kind of information. It doesn't need to be crap or shit talk. It doesn't need to be, you know, problematic or anything like that. Because once again, I don't want another group chat that I can mute. I want this all to go the right way. Any support that I can be to you, Dino, I want you to know that this just comes from experience and having done it before, whether it be places like with Billy, places with Bill Collins and rankings. D'Anthony, speak up. Can we hear you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
I
Let's
hope
go.
so.
So, I mean, feel free before we get on to touch base on anything that you feel from a like a referee standpoint,
Yeah.
like
Man, I think everything was pretty much covered. Um, yeah, I think that so far with the classes, maybe just one class for sure, instead of being ranked in like 2 to 3 different classes. That's going to make it a lot easier just to be in one class. And then yeah, the first place thing with the money up, I think that's super important because people do travel and they do have to drive, take their time out of their day to just come to these events. I like the idea of doing, the quarterly, mega practices because that does give people more opportunities. So any way I can do or anything I can do to help host those, by all means, I'm here for it.
obviously we have that first uh you know we have this tournament coming in February, and we just decided that we're not going to be doing data based off of tournaments. So I will try to make things happen from somewhere between March and April, because I already have a venue spot. Tim has also posted in the comments that he has a couple places that we can utilize that are inside. I have a really solid badass place outside that can fit 100 people if necessary. The only thing is it's in Santan Valley. So, some of these things, they're going to have to be flexible as far as location and when they happen and where they happen. Because I'm not going to expect everybody to drive to Santan every time something like this happens. I'd love to do them in different areas. Like I said, Tim, I think one of the places in Chandler, we probably will end up doing Eric Wolf's eventually. So it gives, the location opportunity to sway, go from different places for different people. And your rule set says 90 days. That's 3 months.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's perfect to have it every 3 months. And then all, like you're saying, if anybody wants to have smaller events or gatherings for smaller super matches, then they can do it on their own accord.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
but I think that makes a lot of sense. And Dino, I also want to make sure that you understand that with all the turmoil that you get, the backlash and everything, that it's not going to be said, but you are appreciated. You are thanked for doing this and taking the head of it all, because it is not an easy thing to do. It's annoying. It's data entry. You're not getting paid to do it. And another thing that I wanted to say to you, although it may not seem helpful, and I heard you say it a couple different times, is that Arizona or I'm sorry, arm wrestling is sacred to you. Arm wrestling is sacred to me,
Why
but it
not?
is not that way for everybody else. And sometimes we can't expect the others, and I'm not going to say names, but some of them are people that are ranked much higher than you and me that could give a rat's ass about all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So just take that with a grain of salt, that even though people don't treat you with that respect, it is still there. We still appreciate you. I personally don't think there's anybody else that would do a better job based on your involvement in Arizona arm wrestling. So hats off to you, and thank you for doing it, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. And then just so everybody knows, like, honestly, I love everybody. I don't really care who's an asshole, who's not. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like I like every single person in
Asshole.
Arizona. To me, yeah. See, you're an asshole. I like you. To me, I don't. To me, arm wrestling, it's either you win or you lose. The personality stuff to me doesn't really matter. And I mean, and that's it. And that's why I wanted to put these rules in to get everybody's feedback versus just me putting it and then well, what's up with this, what's up with that. So now I have a clear direction. This is what the rules are going to be, and there's going to be no changing. It doesn't matter who doesn't like it or who whines and all that stuff. If you want to be ranked, you just got to beat the other guy, and it's as simple as that. So
I
that's
love it.
all I had. Yeah, awesome. Really
Did we miss anything? Did I miss something in the beginning as far as like, is it best of fives or best of sevens or anything like that?
Yeah. So
Best of
yeah,
fives.
best of five, and then first place can pick best of three or best of five. If they can't agree, then it will be best of five.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions you had, D'Anthony?
No, my bad on the whole microphone thing. That was getting
Okay.
super frustrating.
You get one pass. That's your one pass. Just
All
kidding.
right. All right.
Just kidding.
Appreciate you just let me, show my face for a little bit.
Yeah, this is one of the head refs right here, guys. So just so you know. All right, guys, that's it. I appreciate your time. Great input. You guys have a good one.
Later.
Later.